Ooby-doo, it's everyone's favorite boomer and vintage lens enthusiast. Today, we're going to look at Tokina AT-X 28 to 85mm zoom, 3.5 to 4.5. It's an F mount. It's on the FTZ adapter. It's on the Nikon Z50. This is an aftermarket lens hood. I got this for 50 bucks delivered. Like new minus condition, and it's an excellent performer. Excellent performer. Wide open, stop down a little bit, stop down a lot. It does keep getting better, but you could use it from oh, and it's really good at 28 to 85. It's throughout the whole range. It's excellent. It's got a macro mode at the 85 end. I like to shoot at f8, but usually in bright weather I've been stopping down to 11 and 16. Of course, since this is a variable aperture, if I stop down to f11 and let's see, f11 is orange and 28 is orange, right? So if I zoom to 85, which is what am I telling? This is green. green. 28 is green. So f11. 85 is orange, then it goes to f16. So that's going to change your exposure. Now this camera is nice enough that I stick it in the S mode. It just picks the proper shutter speed for me, so there's no big deal with that. I usually leave her on ISO 400, but in really bright weather I'll stop down to 200 in a pinch. And in dim weather, with this camera you can bump it up to like 1600, no problem. It's small, it's lightweight. I like the build quality of the Z50. It has an excellent menu. The tilt screen, that's it for a ticklet screen for that. So I don't know how useful that is, but it's there. So I went to a car show. It looked like it was going to rain, but they didn't cancel out. I was there 40 minutes, and it did rain. I ran back to my car, and it stopped at 5 minutes. And I went back. I took pictures of the cars with beads of water all over them. And it didn't matter because it was only 10 miles from my house. So if they did cancel, I could have left and came back some other day. But it worked out pretty good. And I can't say enough about this lens. What's the problem with this lens? The problem is you don't see many of them around. I guess people get this lens, they realize it's good, and they keep it. I have a collection of Tokina lenses, and I think you don't really need anybody else. You don't need Canon, Nikon, or Pentax. I'm a Canon guy myself, but I have issues with the FD mount system. I will buy Canon FD mount lenses, but I avoid any other aftermarket lenses in FD mount, because the FD mount adapters, a lot of them have issues with infinity focus. A lot of FD mount adapters have trouble with the aperture not stopping down right. Even though, since I have an AE1 program, I could stick any one of those lenses on that Canon film SLR and it'll work perfectly. So when I see like an aftermarket Tokina on an F mount, I pick it up right away because it works perfectly on the FTZ adapter. Of course, everything's manual, but you know, the aperture works, and then you can focus at infinity and no problem. So the proof is in the pudding, and one word is worth 1,000 pictures. So let's jump right into slideshow, and then you can see how excellent this lens is. Yeah, so the Ringwood second annual car show, even though it looked like inclement weather, looks like they have more cars than last year. It's mostly classic cars, some modern cars. Of course, it wasn't limited to one genre of cars. All cars were welcome. I like these old coupes, and they're parked right next to a modern, sports car, and a lot of juxtaposition, and they all got the deep mirror finish. And you can see how guys treat their cars as opposed to, some have car bras, I'm saying. Some have other accoutrements attached to it. This guy, yeah, I remember this guy with his fancy doors. How about that, huh? Yeah, he's always got them open at the car shows. The crowd was sparse in the beginning. I guess people were busy shopping and stuff, and then it looked like rain, and then but later on they did come in, especially after the rain blew through, and a lot of people trundled in after that. This guy, his car was a mishmash of all different parts, all Ford stuff, but just different models. Here's a classic vet for you, huh? Before they start looking like spaceships, because they look like spaceships now. Here's a row of vets, and they all have this like spaceship look to them or something. I don't know. And here's the juxtaposition of blue and yellow, and that's why I like to go to car shows and see all the different combinations that are seem to be totally random. And I always like to check out the what the trophies look like, you know. And a good time is had by all. People are just totally into it. You know, they got some classic car, they want an excuse to drive around, so they go to the car show and they hang out, and you know, they want to BS about their cars and stuff. And you know, it's just amazing. I like to see the old cars, you know, because I'm a boomer, you know, and these old cars, I seen them on the street when they were street cars and everyone had them and no one thought about them. And now all of a sudden they're classics. And some of them are in really tip-top shape. Nice clean chrome. Oh, now there's a classic vet for you. You know, it's amazing how they changed, their design changed. So, you know, you see some older cars, they got great chrome and the paint's really nice and, you know, the interior's all immaculate and everything. And, of course, there's a lot of custom jobs, too, like these hot rod coupes, you know, and see how everyone fixed those up. Now, this is the before. This is before the rain. It was overcast. Everything is evenly lit. No harsh shadows. This is all reflections off that firewall on that yellow coupe. See, that's he has a mirrored polished metal there, and you can see everything's reflecting in it. So this is before the rain, right? The rain, the cars are just cars, all evenly lit. Excellent photo ops. Le Sabri, I don't know how to pronounce that. Here's you got these accents. I like to zoom up on details and take accents. You look at the interior, amazing. Bench seats. Look at that dash, oh my God. Oh, and then you look at the infotainment centers now. What a big difference, huh? There's an old Ford for you. Here's this guy put a mirror finish metal with the supporting struts under it. Here's that mishmash car where the guy just got parts and threw everything on a chassis. Wow, look at that. They used to have thermometers on the radiators. Look at this chrome. What were they thinking with these designs? I mean, they were just so psychedelic in a way. And you get all the reflections off them. Here's that mirror finish again. I think that's a nice touch. It's the first time I think I've seen that. Classic vet. People milling around. The police were there. I felt perfectly safe, right? I look at the deep mirror finish in these pink jobs. Amazing. This guy, he does the circuit with his, you know, jacked up truck. I wonder how that thing handles. I don't know. Yeah, you know, when I was a kid, these cars were all around. People just drove them. And then now they're rarities. You know, my old man had like an old Buick like that. Now here's after the rain. After the rain, it went back. All the cars were all beaten up. You know, I guess these guys turtle waxed the living daylights out of them and got all the beads of water on it. Yeah, so I just like, yeah, I want to take pictures of beads of water, you know. That adds some sort of detail to the cars. Beads of water everywhere. And this is the Tokina AT-X 28 to 85, 3.5 to 4.5. And it is a fine lens, super fine lens, high definition, high resolution. Oh my God, it's just beautiful. Now, I take pictures, It's a 3x4 format. I crop it to 16:9, shrink it down to fit this movie format, and then on the B pictures, out of that 20 megapixel or whatever it is, I crop a 1920 by 1080, which is only 2 megapixels. So, and then it's like a pixel peeping zoom up, like this bead picture here. Look at the beads of water in that headlamp assembly. The guy started wiping his car off, so I took a real quick picture to see the difference. You know, nice lens. If you could find one cheap, pick it up. They're as good as Nikon or Canon. Now let me tell you, I gotta say it again, the Canon FD mount is sort of sucky. Canon themselves made excellent optics, but the FD, I shouldn't say that, because if you have an old-time FD SLR, film SLR, yeah, they all work perfect. But these adapters all have trouble. I had so much trouble with these adapters. Bad infinity focus. This almost hits infinity, but doesn't quite. Maybe it won't stop down past f8 or f11, and you got to fiddle with it. So there are issues with the FD mount with FD adapters. So you may have to buy like a couple different adapters, and some of them will work with some lenses and some of them will work with other lenses, and vice versa. So that's why I got nothing against Nikon. They got a lot of good glass, but I got to admit that the Nikon F mount is much more cooperative with these aftermarket adapters. Now I do have an FTZ adapter, but I have some other, other dumb adapters, because I have different cameras, and I want to put my F lenses on all my different mirrorless cameras. I don't have any issues with infinity focus or the aperture not working right. So, you got to keep that in mind. And I do have a bunch of Canon FD glass, and they are good. But you know what? This Tokina could go toe-to-toe with any of them. Any of them. I mean, it's that good. And it's that cheap. If I want to get a 28 to 85, say a Nikon or a Canon vintage lens, it would have cost me 2 or 3 times as much. So, and maybe I wouldn't have got it in like new minus condition, Maybe I would have had to step down and still pay a premium for it. So you got to keep that in consideration also. Yeah, so, look at it. I'm taking pictures at 85 millimeters, taking pictures at 28 millimeters. I'm taking pictures far away. I'm taking pictures close up. And this lens, the Tokina AT-X 28 to 85 millimeter, is just a fine performer. It's an excellent lens. I really like it. It's going to be one of my favorite lenses. In fact, I could stop collecting lenses now and just use this. Of course, maybe sometimes you'll need a fast prime lens or a longer zoom or a shorter zoom, and then that's a different story. But to have a really good walking around lens for almost 90% of your picture needs, this is the lens to get. And, if you want to get a little lower quality, I mean, cosmetic or wear, you could go like the excellent or even very good, maybe get it for $30 or something, and you'll be extremely pleased with it. And it was all metal construction, old school, all metal construction, except it had the rubber focusing grip on it. And I can't say it enough. You really should get one of these. This is like a key lens from the olden days when they really make good stuff. I gotta say it again. Go get one. You really want to get one of these, without a doubt. AT-X 28 to 85 Tokina.